Good night, Barbados Labour Party. Good evening, Barbados Labour Party on the inside, Barbados Labour Party on the outside. Comrades all, settle, settle, settle. The time that we have been waiting for all day is about to begin. So I can invite you, please, come in, take your seats and settle, and let us prepare for this evening's highlight event. I still see some people coming in. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to get settled, but let's get started, Barbados Labour Party. Good evening. One more time. I need to hear you. I need to feel the energy that we heard and saw just a little while ago. From every parish in this tent here in Queen's Park, from Christchurch to St. Lucie, from St. Philip, including those who have joined us for the first time from St. Philip, to St. Peter, this Barbados Labour Party is here tonight. And we are here tonight under one banner, one purpose, and one extraordinary leader. Look around you, Barbados Labour Party. Look around you, comrades. This is not just any gathering. This is the red heartbeat of this nation. We are red and ready at all times. This is the family that built, defended, transformed, and is still transforming this nation. This is the movement, all of you, that believes in people, in progress, and in purpose. And through every challenge and every storm, this Barbados Labour Party has had one single truth. When Labour leads, what happens? Barbados succeeds. When Labour leads, we Bajans succeed. Say it with me again. When Labour leads, we Bajans succeed. And in this Barbados Labour Party tonight, we've always been the conscience and the compass of this great nation. We've stood for fairness and justice and opportunity for all. We've had incredible leaders, from Grantley Adams, Sir Grantley Adams, who gave working people their voice and dignity, to Sir Hugh Springer, who used education to uplift our people, and then Tom Adams, bold and visionary, who built the modern Barbados we know. And then we went on to Sir Harold St. John. He was steady and steadfast, and he led with integrity. Then there was Owen Seymour Arthur. He gave Barbadians homes, jobs, and global confidence. They were the giants of their time, and they proved again and again, when Labour leads, we Bajans succeed. So now, tonight, comrades, in our generation, we are blessed with a leader who stands on their shoulders. We are blessed with a leader who sees into the future, a leader who faces storms head on, a leader who serves with heart and not ego, a leader who walks among all of you, our people, not above them, our leader, our Prime Minister. She has a name. We call her many things. Prime Minister, PM. We call her Mia Amor Mottley. She is our leader. And so she is going to be coming to the stage very shortly to address you. But let me take a few minutes to tell you just some of the things that you know already. When the world shut down during the pandemic, she stood tall. She protected jobs. She kept the economy moving. She made sure that no Barbadian was left behind. When prices rose around the world, she fought and is still fighting to keep basic goods available. When others hesitated and are still hesitating, she acts. When Hurricane Beryl, and Minister Ford, who's walking in now, when Hurricane Beryl struck our island, tearing through the coast and destroying our fishing harbor, she was not the leader who sat behind the desk. She was there on the ground, in the mud, in the debris, with you. That's where she always is, because that's what leadership looks like. hands-on, heart-first, and people-centered. Under her leadership, Barbados has transformed. Public services are being digitized. And so, whether it is at home or overseas, when she speaks, Barbados and the world listen. Through the Barbados, the Bridgetown Initiative, she is reshaping global finance. She's calling for fairness, justice, and a world that values people. She is not just our prime minister. She is not just our party leader. She is a global stateswoman carrying the flag of Barbados wherever she goes. When Amor Mottley speaks, Barbados shines. When Amor Mottley leads, Barbados rises. So rise with me this evening, comrades. Rise with me and welcome our leader. Welcome our leader to the conference of the Barbados Labour Party. We are the movement that builds. We are the movement that upholds. We are the movement that never gives up on Barbados. We are the Barbados Labour Party, the BLP, the party that people will rise. Join me, people. Join me, comrades. Join me in welcoming our leader, our fearless leader, the one, the only, the fearless, the global stateswoman, the local champion. Join me in welcoming the political leader of this, our great Barbados Labour Party. She's making her way to the stage now, and I want you to fill this room with all the energy and all the love and all the accolades. Join me in welcoming her to the stage. She is a woman who has led and is standing on the heels. Here she comes. Here she comes. Join me in welcoming Amor Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados. Prime Minister of Barbados, the political leader of the Barbados Labour Party, our champion, our defender, our global stateswoman, as she makes her way through the crowd, touching hearts and touching hands. She is a woman for our times and a woman for our people. Join me, Barbados Labour Party. Let all of Bridgetown hear your voices welcoming our leader as she enters the tent. Here she comes. The leader of the Barbados Labour Party, Amor Mottley, representing leadership in motion, legacy in action. This is Barbados at its best. This is our Prime Minister. This is our leader. This is the leader of the Barbados Labour Party. This is who we have elected and who has led us on 2 occasions into resounding victories. This is Amor Mottley, and as she makes her way to the stage, let the voices of the Barbados Labour Party be heard everywhere, from St. Peter to St. Lucie, from north to south. Welcome with me.
If you give a little more.
And we know in this Barbados Labour Party that she can't make her way through a crowd without greeting and embracing everyone.
If you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like you. If you stand up for those down on their knees,
your voices are too silent. Your voices are too silent.
Voice to those who
welcome our leader. She makes her way to the stage. Let your voices ring and be heard as we welcome our political leader to make an address.
There's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold.
And here she comes as she makes her way to the stage. The political leader of the Barbados Labour Party, Amor Mottley. Amor Mottley. our champion, our defender, our voice.
Trying to be the change you want to see. If you lay down your life for love,
Let's
so
welcome her to the stage.
be saved. There's a place
Here comes.
for people like you.
Here she comes.
I've heard up there the streets are made of gold.
Political leader of this great party.
And when you get
87 years
there's a
of the
hand
Barbados
to
Labour Party, and our political leader sitting at the helm,
hold when your days down
standing on the shoulders of great leaders who have gone before her.
up there for people like you.
Welcome to the stage as she greets the people of the Barbados Labour Party, the people of Barbados, Mia Amor Mottley. We bring her to the stage. Welcome to the stage, Prime Minister. Welcome to conference, Prime Minister. Welcome to the second day of the Barbados Labour Party annual conference. Barbados Labour Party comrades, our leader is with us. Raise your voices, raise your hands, shout and welcome our political leader, Honorable Mia Amor Mottley.
When the going gets tough, I said the tough gets going. My people don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in.
Comrades, keep the energy high as our Prime Minister comes to the stage, and we welcome her to deliver the featured address this year at our annual conference. Welcome to the stage.
Rastafari never leave I alone. So even when the
Prime
road gets
Minister
rocky,
Mia
we say
Amor
me never give up.
Mottley.
I said there ain't no giving in. And when the going gets tough, I said the tough gets going. My people don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in. No, Rastafari guide I and I from the beginning. Oh, if I give up, I said there ain't no giving in. And when the going gets tough, I said the tough gets going. My people don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in. No, Rastafari guide I and I from the beginning. Oh, if I give up, I said there ain't no giving in. And when the going gets tough, I said the tough gets going. My people don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in. No, Rastafari guide I and I from the beginning. Oh, if I give up, I said there ain't no giving in. When the going gets tough, I said the tough gets going. My people don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in. No, Rastafari guide I and I from the beginning. Oh, if I give up, I said there ain't no giving in. And when the going gets tough, I said the tough gets going. My people don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in. No, Rastafari guide I and I from the beginning. Oh, if I give up, I said there ain't no giving in. And when the going gets tough, I said the tough gets going. My people don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in. No, Rastafari guide I and I from the beginning. Oh, if I give up, I said there ain't no giving in. And when the going gets tough, I said the tough gets going. My people don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in. No, Rastafari guide I and I from the beginning. A lot of youths in life say them can't take the pressure no more. Rastafari never leave I alone. So even when the road get rocky, me say me never give up. I said there ain't no giving in. And when the going get tough, I said the tough get going. My people don't give up. I said there ain't no giving in. No, Rastafari guide I and I from the beginning. Oh, oh, oh. Me say me never give up. I said there ain't no giving in. And when the going get tough, I said the tough get going.
Family, family, family. When labor leads, my friends, it is such a good afternoon to be here with you this afternoon. This Barbados Labour Party family, as always energizes. And I ask all of you who are here to give each other who is next to you a hug, because this is the party of love. And I see one or two people who need a little extra love today. Give it to them, Michael, Faith. So my friends, trust me, you know when I come to Queen's Park, that I come with love and energy and readiness for any and everything, because I feel energized. Do you feel energized? Are you ready? And I want us to begin to feel the power and the truth of this theme, that when labor leads, Bajans succeed. And I want, as you have done, for you to join me every time during this speech when I tell you, and let us start it. When labor leads, we Bajans succeed. And this year's slogan for this conference is not by accident. It is a promise, and it is a celebration of how far we have come since 2018. And yes, it is a rallying cry, for the work is still ahead of us. I speak of the work still ahead because we are pressing ahead with confidence, not cockiness, not with complacency, but with compassion. We know that while an opposition uses every occasion to provide excuses and to rehearse for their lack of readiness, this Barbados Labour Party, my friends, has been continuing to build solutions, because we know that while the opposition, the current version, occupying George Street, continues desperately to chase after relevance, we have been shaping the future of our people. And we are confident because we know that Barbados deserves leadership that wins not just the ballots, but in the lives of ordinary people across this country. And we go forward with confidence because we know that those who are still asking for the keys for this country are out of touch. 130 love, 1-1 love, 130 love, and next one love. Count 30 and 1, and 30 and 1 is how much? 62 love. And I don't pretend to predict the future, but suffice it to say that my name is Mia Amor Mottley, my love. 7 years on, we would have hoped that they would have learned and grown, truly, truly. And far from getting better, they are getting worse. They are still waiting for leadership. waiting for answers, waiting for someone who is actually ready. And it's sad. It's sad because for them it remains business as usual, other than the leader that they now have, who continues unsuccessfully to be auditioning to become a member of the Royal Shakespeare Company. And trust me, my friends, if he finds a little humility, I will ask the Deputy High Commissioner when he goes back to London to make the arrangements for him to have that audition so he can relieve the burden of the Bajan people of his foolishness Tuesday after Tuesday after Tuesday. And we will not hold it against him because he has already picked a side that is not the Republic of Barbados. Because everything that comes after his name only is KC, King's Council. But we are not time here, my friends, to spend time on him this afternoon. Rats any part of the town have always been bad for our health. Enough of them, because I have come to remind us of why Bajans succeed when Labour leads. So, 7.5 years on. And I know there's a lot of hype, but this afternoon is also about some seriousness. And we're going to remind you of some of the things and why the people place trust in us. But we are equally not going to hide from the realities of our condition, because we must come together and we must be able to confront them if we are to continue to be successful as a nation. You asked us to take up the mantle when this nation was in crisis. We will never, ever forget the enormity of what we inherited. An economy on the brink, dwindling foreign reserves, deteriorating public services, sewage on the street, declining social capital, and a country anxious for hope. We will not dwell on looking back, but I want you never to forget, lest someone ever tries to repeat the actions that led to that lost decade. And look how far today in 2025 we have come. Barbados stands taller, stronger, and more confident now than when we began this journey. In spite of earthquakes, hurricanes, freak storm, soufre's volcano ash, and a deadly global pandemic, global economic tempest, threat of war, Barbados today, my friends, is unrecognizable from the crisis of 2018 and succeeding years. And I say to you that you know we don't like to boast, but there are moments when the truth must be told. And these are such like this. Because when the truth is being told, believe me, that this government, your BLP government, will show you that it is delivered and that we are still delivering, because the mission is not over. And we are encouraged and motivated to get there because of the successes of the last 7.5 years. And that is why I say to you that when Labour leads, succeed. And let me remind you quickly of some of what this BLP government has achieved in the last few short years. Very, very, very quickly. We, my friends, pulled Barbados back from economic collapse. True thing that. True thing. Fiscal achievements. This government took office in 2018 and the fiscal cupboard was empty. The country's confidence was broken. The previous administration spent beyond its means year after year, running an average fiscal deficit of 7% of GDP, borrowing only to pay debts. That is not leadership. That is recklessness. And we changed that story. We restored discipline and credibility. We took a balance sheet and made it breathe again. Primary surpluses year after year, with the exception of the 2 pandemic years, while still, my friends, investing in roads, in schools, in buses, in clinics, in housing, and more. Don't mind the Dems. The foolishness about borrowing and asking if you are better off today than 10 years ago. Don't get tied up. $18 billion in debt in 2018 in a smaller economy can never be more than $15 billion today in a larger economy. Unless, of course, you believe in Kelmanomics, where 80 is less than 20. This economy, my friends, today is bigger and stronger and steadier than it was in 2018. But equally, unemployment is at the lowest ever in the history of Barbados at 6.1%. This is what a steady hand looks like. And when we are doing all of this, the seas have not been calm. The seas have been rough. Not every wave is ours to command. But my friends, the compass is ours. And since we came to office, Barbados has recorded primary surpluses every year, averaging over 4% of GDP, excluding, as I said, the 2 pandemic years. We have paid our debts down. The IMF has ranked Barbados among the 13th largest turnaround in the world fiscally, a transformation from unsustainable deficits to a position of strength and stability. But fiscal responsibility alone was never our goal. You know it, and I know it. We were not elected to punish people through austerity in the name of adjustment. We fix this economy. We fix the fiscal situation while growing this economy. And we kept a tight grip on current spending, but expanded capital spending in this country because that is what drives jobs and growth. That is what we need to build the roads. That is what we need to do the schools, the buses, the garbage trucks, the housing. All of the community infrastructure. And that is how we have rebuilt this country and are restoring pride. I am saying to you, my friends, this is not austerity. This is purpose. I want to repeat myself. This is not austerity. This is purpose. So believe you me, when we move from that, we come to the issue of growth. This economy has grown. 17 straight quarters of growth. And it would have been much more had it not been for the economic pandemic. Do you know what it is to have 17 straight quarters of economic growth? Would I let you know? That is what allows us to care. And this turnaround cannot be taken for granted because once again the IMF has shown that Barbados has achieved the 9th fastest acceleration in growth in the world during this entire period. Among the top 10 out of 193. And that is the result of sound management, targeted investment, and the confidence we've restored. As I told you, the employment went there. During the pandemic, unemployment went as high as 14%. So that we have more than halved it to bring it to 6.1. And while thousands of Bajans are back at work with more entering the labor force, we do not ignore the fact that there are still many in unemployment and many in underemployment in this country. We will not rest until all get the jobs that they need and deserve. And that is why we have established a jobs registry to identify skills with employment needs with a view to matching those with job opportunities and those with the people who can provide the jobs. So all this foolish talk about bringing people back here to take jobs from Bajans is nothing but foolishness. We're going to come to that because I've told you over and over, it is not reserves that keep me up at night. It is a skills deficit in this country. And I say to you, we didn't choose austerity. We chose discipline with growth, responsibility with compassion, and yes, progress with purpose. All others recognize outside of Barbados that this has been our reality and this has been our success. The only ones are some of the Dems in George Street, and may I say the other splinter groups that the Dems have now created. Because we have all learned from children, there are none so blind as who? Those who choose not to see. In addition to all of that, we decided to start to get creative and innovative. Barbados entered into a process of leading the world on the issue of debt swaps. We didn't only do it to restore our fiscal health, but to achieve substantive things that make a difference. We have led the world here because this is critical for us, for our growth and resilience. This little rock here, in 2022, we executed a debt swap for nature with Nature Conservancy and the IDB. Adrian Ford can tell you about it. That will allow us to repurchase our debt in blue bonds and to redirect the savings, about 50 million US, up to take our marine space and to make sure that we can protect it at least 30% of our marine space. That is environmental leadership and financial reform moving hand in hand. Then in 2024, last year, we completed the world's first ever debt for climate swap, where we took our debt back, and with the help of $300 million US in guarantees from the IDB and the European Investment Bank and a grant from the Green Climate Fund, we were able to free up money to be able now to commit to a new South Coast sewage treatment plant at $125 million US with money left back for the Water Authority. My friends, we expect this construction of this new plant to start next year. And we expect that we can do this without adding a single cent to the debt of the people of Barbados. That is like you having one house with a mortgage, getting a second and not having to increase a single cent for the payment of the second house. We are going to take that water, and instead of letting the sewage run in the ocean and potentially on the South Coast again, we are going to treat it and let it replenish our aquifers so Bajans will have water to use in this country. My friends, that transaction alone has won us many awards globally and hemispherically because people recognize that it was breaking new ground. Our foreign reserves, sorry, before I go along, you know who poo-pooed that transaction in Parliament? Santia, tell them. One RAT. It's not me that said rat droppings. Not me. Our foreign reserves, my friends, have climbed from a perilous 3 weeks to where it is at now in almost 8 months. 31.6 weeks. I do not want you to forget the facts. Most of us know by now that you cannot buy anything that coming from overseas with Bajan dollars. You got to have foreign currency, whether it's US dollars or euros or Chinese yuan. And when we entered the IMF program in 2018, we did it because we had no choice. And when we went again ready to come out, COVID came, and the polycrisis came, and the war with Ukraine. And we had to enter it back again, not because we needed to, but because we wanted, as Rihanna said, an umbrella to keep over our head so that we could keep this country safe. And where has that left us? We have now come out of the IMF program. We met every single target in those programs, and we completed all of the reforms that we committed to on time. And you know why? Because when Labour leads, that is no small feat. We returned to the international capital markets in June of this year, and for the first time in 12 years, we were able to raise money. And so successful was that engagement that we went for 500 million and the people offer us 2.7 billion. I said, no, boy, we ain't ready for all of that. You hold steady. We walking as we want to. And that is a sign that the market has absolute confidence, even more than the credit rating agencies, because we ended up getting that money at a price lower than countries that have higher credit ratings than us. So my friends, I'm telling you, while we will keep the IMF on standby with a precautionary engagement because of the extreme global certainty and the rumors of war, believe you me, we are moving forward, knowing full well that in every respect, everything that is going in the right direction is doing so strongly. Our national debt, 178.9% when we came in. It is now at the end of September, 100.5%. And we are on course for it to be double digit by the end of this year. As Matt Fingal would say, you must clap for that. So when you hear people telling you foolishness about debt, ask them how 18 get more than 15. Because we inherited 18 billion and the debt now, with all the borrowing that they say that we do, with all the things that we do, is at 15 billion. Look, this is truly an amazing achievement. I ain't fooling you all. And this is one of the main reasons why our international credit ratings has been steadily improving. A few weeks ago, Fitch moved us from stable to positive outlook. And as fate would have it, only yesterday, Standard & Poor's upgraded Barbados yet again. You understand that we had 13 downgrades from Standard & Poor's? And we have now had 9 upgrades since coming to office. Clap for that! We are now 4 notches from investment grade. My friends, I can see it even without my glasses. I can feel it. I can smell it. And what does investment grade mean to the fellow in the city or the woman in St. Philip or in St. Joseph? It means that the government can borrow money at a cheaper cost. And when we borrow at a cheaper cost, it means less debt service. Or in Arthur used to tell you, you can't build out this country paying 69 cents in the dollar in debt service. When we get less debt service, we can do more for everybody. So when I tell you, my friends, we Bajans were got to be Mujans to take a government with this kind of record and to put back in people that can't even keep themselves together and can't even talk to one another. That is not, and none of this is biased news headlines for the moment. It's not a biased news headline either for the papers or down by the riverside. And for the moderators who are going after the ratings, these are the facts. Simple, simple, simple. Our national credibility has been restored. And this is what has allowed us to do all the things that we are doing to make your lives easier and better in this country. And I know that sometimes people don't like me to spend that kind of time on economy in here at the beginning. But I needed to do it today to remind us that this is what separates us from any other political institution in this country. And if you want stability in Barbados, and you want safety, and you want to help and care people, you got to have cash to do it, and you have to have a safe and stable foundation. But our work has not only succeeded economically, we are delivering socially. That starts, my friends, with higher wages and better jobs. From the very first day in office, we committed to restoring dignity and income to workers and to finding jobs for those who did not have jobs. We knew it would be difficult, and we knew we would lose a few in the initial stages. But we made sure that we gave every single public servant their first pay increase in effectively what was 10 years, a 5% increase after years of wage freezes. And we did it again on April 1st, 2021. Not an April Fool's joke like others. We did it. And we introduced a minimum wage as well of $8.50 an hour in the middle of a pandemic when others said you couldn't do it and everything, the sky would fall down on you. We did this despite resistance because a fair day's pay deserves, a fair day's work deserves a fair day's pay. And when some warned that prices would go up, I put them on notice that we have eyes and hands and voices in Parliament to prevent any unfair gouging. And we went with a price compact to be able to control those things. Today, thousands of Bajans take home larger paychecks because Labour put our people first. Because when Labour leads, we said we would ease the squeeze on working people. We did that and continue to do so. From the 1st of June this year, Colin Jordan will tell you, and Tony Moore, that the national minimum wage moved from $8.50 to $10.50 an hour, an increase of almost 24% for people at the bottom. And we anticipate, my friends, that once the current regrading is finished in the public service, that we will be in a position to start wage and salary negotiations in 2026. So hold tight, because when Labour leads, social investment in our people was not left out. We are rebuilding the social capital of this country that we said was collapsing in 2018. We restored tuition fees for students at the University of the West Indies and guaranteed them at other post-secondary institutions. Righting a wrong that had denied many the chance to pursue higher education. And we didn't stop there. We went on also, as I said, to those post-secondary institutions like Community College and Erdiston and SJPI, because education at every right must be, education at every stage must be a right and not a privilege. But we asked for Operation Give Back, because just as you are benefiting from a freeness being given to you by the state, you have to give back to the country that has saw people sacrifice to give you this education. 150 hours of community service each year, and that has made a huge difference. We also, Chad would tell you, opened the Oceana Innovation Hub in Bay Street. And that is the beginning of a commitment to build centers of excellence in our secondary schools. We hope to do one, Jonathan will tell you, in AI and robotics soon. But the one in Bay Street is finished. And that is a campus of the Barbados Climate School, which is being built in Culloden Road. You will see that construction has effectively started there for that climate school that will take 4th, 5th, and 6th formers to be able to put them ready to make Barbados more resilient as a nation. The relocation of Graydon Sealy. Michael, your school. Take it from the back of the paddock and put it on the front road. We are now finishing the plans, and we expect the work to start in 2026 on the Ursuline Convent site. And Chad, you delivered a ministerial statement in August this year that laid out the roadmap with the 5 strategic goals to ensure that we modernize our curriculum, refurbish and modernize our physical spaces, and improve the outcomes of our children over the course of the next few years. Let me just single out, my friends, that there is a commitment on the part of this government for every child and every adult still to learn to read by December 2026. This is a serious matter. We have prided ourselves on high literacy rates before. And while the majority of our people can read, the truth is that it is important for us not to ignore the others who cannot read, because the consequences are too dire, not only for them and their families, but for the entire country and the communities. In healthcare, at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, we promise dignity and speed. I know we are not yet there fully, but we are moving. We built a new accident and emergency straight away, and thank God for that. Because if that was not there during the COVID pandemic, what would we have done when the physical distancing rules were put in place? Electronic registration now meets you at the A&E door. Oncology waits are down from 140 days to 30 days, and those are still too high for my liking. We created also over 200 critical posts in the last year, and we are struggling in some instances to fill those posts because we do not have the skills in Barbados. Not for the government's lack of wanting the posts done and being created. And only this week, we saw, as we heard last night when Jerome, you received the highest award of this party, deservedly so, that the world-class LINAC accelerator was introduced in for more cancer treatment to be modernized in this country here at home only this week. We thank everyone for helping to make that happen. We continue to address the issue of renewing our plant and buying new equipment, because there was underinvestment in the hospital for way too long. And all of this we have been doing, first in an IMF program and continuing now with more gusto as we are out of the program. You saw also this week, Jerome signed a contract for the financing and for the refurbishment of the expansion of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, creating 40% more space and linking that new building on the Enmore site to the main hospital building with a bridge. Equally, when we finish there, we will literally be refurbishing and repurposing, and if necessary, demolishing parts of the existing QEH so that we will end up with a brand new hospital over the course of the next few years. And believe you me, we hear you on the gaps, the updates on records, the coordination that is still needed between departments and people, the courtesy that is still needed for persons who are going into the hospital because of illness, the accountability that is needed for everyone from CEO to orderly to general worker. And sometimes this goes beyond what the government can do all on its own. It requires all of us, not just the Ministry of Health, but all who have responsibility for interacting with patients and their families and other personnel in the hospital to step up to the plate, because do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This is not easy, and it's not going to be a simple task, because we're trying to break a culture. But I ask all of us to bond together to help remind them that even though it is difficult, it is a task from which we cannot resile. We will keep saying it, we will keep fixing it, because trust grows and people get on board when leaders tell the truth and then ask us to do the work we can do better at all levels across the board when dealing with patients. With a loan from the Saudis, we are now about to commence repairs for the upgrading of all of our polyclinics and the new construction completely of 2 new polyclinics at Randall Phillips and at Eunice Gibson. Investment in our healthcare system, my friends, is not just a line item, but it is part of the covenant that we keep with the people of this country, because without health, there is no life. And let us not forget that when the world was rocked by COVID-19, we built out isolation facilities in record time and equipped our healthcare heroes to save lives. So we know it is possible. We protected the vulnerable with income support and adopted families in need. Our social safety net, Kirk, held firm, even as wealthier countries faltered in what they were providing to their own vulnerable. And why? Because we in Barbados believe in equity and taking care of our own. And it doesn't stop there. The Disabilities Rights Bill, and I'm happy to see members of the disabled community here today, because this government singled you out to make wrong things right in a country that did not see you sufficiently. When the cabinet was sworn in 2022, I indicated then that we would help the disabled in everything that we do. We have created a new deal not only through new legislation and not only through the commission led ably by Eddie Hinkson, but we have also, with the leadership of Ryan Strawn and Kirk Humphrey, ensured that we introduce a new disability grant which is extended to both children and adults in this country. More than $6 million has been disbursed by the NIS since October 2024. In other words, in the last year, with just under 1,000 people benefiting who would never have benefited in this country. So when they tell you that we don't see people and we're not helping people, show them the facts and put them in the place. A new elderly rights bill is being introduced by Kirk in the next few weeks in Parliament. This will enshrine the rights of older persons in our society and seek to protect them from neglect, from abuse and exploitation, while promoting active aging and inclusion. And you know I'm over 60 now, so I got to look out for you. But I still feel young, so young people are looking out for you still.
Oh, Lord.
If you doubt me, watch me later. The AG will tell you and Kurt will tell you that we also have to introduce legislation to modernize and simplify the arrangements for powers of attorney, because there are too many elderly people in this country whose circumstances are being negatively affected because of the complexity of being able to get that power of attorney. That legislation is also ready to come to cabinet and to go to Parliament. I look forward to being able to see it. The path to the senior citizens villages that we announced before has also started. We said we wanted a senior citizen village in every parish, and it will be done over the years. We have started in St. Philip at Sterling with a village that is designed to be able to cater to elderly persons and adults living with persons living with disabilities. We have also identified the next 2 sites for which those villages must be built. One in Odell's Glen in St. George and the other Cynthia in Edge Hill in St. Thomas. Next month, in the month of independence, we will launch the new Social Empowerment Agency with the legislation having passed Parliament already. This is changing a 19th century approach to welfare. And it brings together the Welfare Department, the Child Care Board, the National Disabilities Unit, the National Assistance Board, all of them into a single people-centered entity. You know what is remarkable? That 99% of all of the workers have already said they are ready to opt in voluntarily, reflecting the confidence and the leadership in Kirk in making this agency now become a reality. We take these things for granted. This will make the delivery of social services in Barbados more efficient, more humane, more responsive to the real needs of our people. And let me tell you why. When we first came into government, I said, how many social workers you got here and there and there and there, and 20 here and 30 there and 2 here and 10 there? And we said, no. Bring all of them together so that all can be first responders and then direct things to the specialists as needed so that we can cover as many people from St. Lucie to St. Philip in this country going forward. And that's what that social empowerment agency is designed to do for us. We took a HIV commission that has been there only focused on HIV and turned it into a HIV and well-being commission so that we can focus on the NCD pandemic in this country. There are too many people with diabetes and hypertension and dying from stroke and heart attack. We can do better and we shall do better, because if it's the last thing I do, we're going to repeat it and dredge it in and drag it in. There must be exercise and there must be good eating. And everything a little balance. You like pigtail, well, do like me. I want to eat it once every 2 months. Are you serious? Because if you don't have balance, when I tell people that I want to eat ham twice a year, they laugh at me. I eat ham at Christmas, and if I eat it again, I got to pick between Easter and crop over. I can't get both. Why? These are the things that are killing us. And we need to talk serious to one another and make sure that we can do things with balance. Nobody's telling you not to have a drink. Nobody's telling you not to eat a piece of pigtail. But when you do things in balance, you can do it for long. When you do things intense, Lord help you, we're going to come and see you. But not where you want us to come and see you. We have expanded the One Family program, which connects Bajans willing to give back to those who need it the most, by targeting 1,000 families and effectively 5,000 lives, addressing the needs that they have in education, in food, in skills training, in finding jobs. We also give them counseling. This reflects our belief that government alone, my friends, and I want the people in the back in particular to hear me, government alone cannot do this. We need to hold hands, as Auntie Olga would say, and help each other and lift up families together in this country. If you don't remember anything but what I say when I go along, we can only solve these problems in healing a nation when communities and faith groups and citizens work together to be able to lift these people out of intergenerational poverty. The One Family transformation is possible in this country, but it needs not just government. It needs all of us. So I call on more Bajans to step up and to mentor and to share and to give back. And even in our crime prevention program over the next few weeks and months, you will hear why we are going to need at least 1,500 volunteers to be able to ensure that our children are exposed to uniform groups and to service clubs as a matter of core curriculum rather than as a matter of choice for the child or the parent. Because we know that once Bajans accept that we have a shared destiny, all things are possible. The Ministry of Youth Affairs, Charles has been working to be able to restructure, to ensure that our youth commissioners now are contracted and are of the age of their peers. In other words, young people working with young people. We also have ensured, however, that the previous youth commissioners who got older have become life coaches and parental coaches in Kirk's ministry, transitioning to give of their experience, their training, and their capacity to address the needs not just of the young people now, but of the entire family, which we know must be the anchor of building strong communities. The Block Transformation Unit and Project Dawn continue to be an effective bridge for including more young people, particularly from marginalized communities, into training. Almost 600 people were trained in the last year alone, and into entrepreneurial opportunities. There is so much more, my friends, that can be done in this country. And that ministry, the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Community Development and Sport, will be at the front line of all that we must do to lift our young people and to give them opportunities in Barbados. There is simply so much more. I go on to tell you that when we leave there, we need then to be able to look at what sports can do. But if I started to talk about what he's doing in sports, I would be here all evening. Because the truth is, you can see it with the heightened level of achievement across all sporting disciplines. And more will be said on another occasion. Suffice it to say that he already has the money in the bank account to build, in addition to the athletic track that is finishing at the gymnasium, to build the next 2 athletic tracks in St. Philip and either in St. Peter or St. Lucie. Charles, get on with the task. And let me come to the digital world in which we function. The digitization of this country and the public sector modernization, which is so critical to bring on efficiency. The Barbados of 2025 is entering a digital age with confidence. We cannot be passengers in this change. We must be the drivers. And like it or not, everywhere you turn, people's head does be down in a phone, just so. Not true? I can't hear you. Oh. How many times you have had to say, Skipper, watch where you're going, take your head out that phone. That is what we are now, a connected people. We can scorn it, or we can shape it. We can grumble, or we can grasp it. But this government chooses to guide and grow it, but grow it responsibly. And that is why we are modernizing how the country works. We launched a new Trident ID, a state-of-the-art biometric ID card. And already over 220,000 Bajans have already registered and received their secure digital IDs. And we encourage the others to come forward. We are moving government services online to make life easier. Electronic tax filing, digital business registration, soon cashless bus transit for seniors, and even we hope in the near future next year, payments for pensions via secure smart ID. You have heard the governor of the central bank tell us about the launch of BIM-Pay, which will happen in March of next year. This will alter and upgrade how payments are made in Barbados and how it will protect persons who do not want to travel with cash because they feel that they are an easy touch, as we saw happen in front of the credit union to our dear friend and colleague only a few months ago. And last week, Flow launched, in collaboration with the ministry, a new 5G network that will create new opportunities for all dependent on this new platform. My friends, the public sector is being reformed to be more customer-focused and efficient, cutting red tape and embracing technology. Because a country this size must always think big and innovate. And we are doing exactly that, becoming a smart Barbados ready to compete in everything that we are doing. How many of y'all believe that we can stand by and watch the rest of the world undertake a digital reality while we remain in an analog Barbados? How many? How many? And when we hear all of those with the conspiracy theories, believe you me, you have to sit back and watch and ask yourself, who are they rooting for? Is it Barbados? Or is it another group in this country that has nothing at all to do with us? We go forward, as I said, confident that BIM-Pay will have all of the protections needed in this country to allow commerce and other commercial transactions at the business level and indeed thereafter to operate without our intervention. I ask, I can get some water, please. I ask us to reflect on these things because we can put this digital transformation completely behind us. And I believe that we can do so. As I said, we will have the School of Excellence created to allow our young people. Only last night in here, One of the youngsters came and talked to me about a new platform. The boy is still a teenager. And over, we see others bringing new platforms to help us get through in this country. But let me move on, please, to some other issues that are affecting us as a country and as a people. We have now to address the issue of how we treat to our infrastructure and to our capacity to transform Barbados across this board. We have too much traffic in this country. And we know it, you know it, everybody strips. Some of it is because we're fixing roads. Some of it is that we simply got too much cars. Some of it is because we don't have enough people opting to use public transport, and that is why we are investing so heavily in modernizing it. Over the course of the next few weeks, starting on the 1st of November, you will hear us talking about a trial that will see two-way traffic in 3 areas. Station Hill, Cullimarock, and St. Lawrence in Christchurch. It will mean that there will be 2 lanes going in the dominant direction where it makes sense. In other words, down to town in the morning and in the afternoon, out of town. We still leave Spooners Hill, Bush Hall, My Lord's Hill, Government Hill, for people to move in the normal way as they're moving. We want to make sure as well that we look for smarter signal timing, better turn pockets, and safer crossings. This is not intended to be cosmetic. It is intended to give you time back. Time in your day, gas money saved, and maybe the biggest one of all, less stress. Because when people sit cruel, and gridlock, what's happened? You lose the patience, the temper goes, and that affects the mental health, and you end up taking that out on people you interact with, whether at home or whether at work. Good government must, yes, mind the state of our roads, but it must mind the state of our minds as well. So we will keep trying hard to give commuters a fair shot at a calm morning and a decent evening. And let me say, because I know this country well, this is a trial. It is for you to see how it works and to comment on it. And if it works, we keep it. If it don't work, we change it. And for the record, change is not incompetence. Change is listening to people. In addition, I have asked the Ministry of Public Works for a cost-benefit analysis on the flyovers to determine whether they should be reintroduced into this country. The Latin phrase for that is res ipsa loquitur. The facts speak for themselves. You have told why this cost-benefit analysis is urgent. But in addition, let me address this matter of Uber. Uber is here. And I will say this now as your Prime Minister. And listen very carefully. Innovation is welcome, but disrespect is not. I want to repeat myself. Innovation is welcome, but disrespect is not. A Deputy Prime Minister cannot meet with a company 1 year ago, advise them that they should meet with the stakeholders before starting. They fail to do so, and then wonder why the national response is as acid as it is. If you are a good churchgoer, you would know you got to go and learn and make penance and apologize. And if you can't say sorry, well then take what comes to you. Because I know in this country, when Bajans put the mind to it, they will support what is Bajan and what is Bajan. At the same time, we have to welcome innovation. And let me settle it to begin with. We said that only licensed taxis can operate on ride-hailing platforms, and Uber has publicly confirmed that its service is now in compliance with that. That is that licensed taxis only operating under Barbadian laws and taxi regulations can operate. But I go further. In addition to securing from them a public commitment to stay out of the Bridgetown port for the next winter season, so that those who were building the domestic platform could have a fair chance to compete, I have also asked Santia to bring regulations to govern the scale of commissions that may be payable to the people in the sector for this category of operations. To be blunt, there are to be no private cars, no shortcuts, and no one above the rules in this sector, in this country. We have already heard the talk about airport arrangements, and I give all the commitment that there cannot be two rules. And either the airport and the seaport will have to charge those, not the seaport for Uber, because Uber out this winter, but the airport will either have to charge them some money, or they will have to drop the money that they're charging the Beijing taxi players in the system. Because you cannot have local taxi men paying $150 or $180 to secure their right to operate from there, but others now come and operate without the payment of a fee. I say to you, there will be a level playing field that is fair to our citizens, fair to visitors, and fair to the men and women who have served this sector well for decades. And let me go back. Tom Adams introduced a policy to keep ground transport and local food. Johnny, you would recall you were part of that cabinet, for the benefit of Bajans so that they could pass it on to their families from generation to generation. It is true that many of them take up the license and sell to somebody else to consolidate. And that is unfortunate because they're not understanding the importance that cash is not wealth, and that it is only when you can pass it from generation to generation that it becomes wealth. But we have said that we will make sure that we meet with the taxi sector, because even though the WTO forced us to abandon those policies that favored locals, that we are going to ensure that we can give the economic enfranchisement that is possible and necessary to those who want it within the ground transport sector. And we know that while there will be a period of adjustment, there must be conversations, Antia. There must be an ability to ensure that we address the issues of financing and simplifying access to financing, whether it is through fund access or other agencies. But at the same time, we must address the issue of safety and standards for the commuting public as well, because that cannot be sacrificed at any cost. Where clarity is needed, we shall give it. Where tweaks are needed, we shall make them. And that is not weakness, as I said. This is a responsible government governing. And some may ask, why embrace ride-hailing at all? Well, because a country with a heavy tourism product wins. When a visitor can book in their own language and see a clear fare and share a live trip and rate the service. And locals win when they can hail safely at night in the middle of nowhere by a fete or a karaoke and know that they can still get home without having to worry how they're going to get home, and that they can pay seamlessly online for it. But Bajans must also step up to the plate and have their own applications, because don't let us fool ourselves. Uber is not a company. Uber has become a word in every language known to mankind. People don't tell you, I want a taxi. They say, I want a what? You understand? But I want Zelle, which is the app being used by the Bajan taxi men, to be launched and to have all the support, including the translation necessary for tourists to be able to communicate seamlessly with you. And the government will work with our own as a matter of principle, as we do with all small businesses in this country. On the wider subject of transport, you know that we have already the largest electric fleet in the region. We have 89 buses. with another 35 coming by December this year. And I announce to you here tonight that we will also be purchasing another 35 beyond that in early 2026. And why? There are too many gaps in our rural communities where people are complaining that the level of service and the regularity of bus service is not adequate. We will face it and address it now that we have restored our fiscal situation to where it needs to be. In addition, I expect that the Ministry of Transport will start discussions with the Barbados Workers Union for the transition of the Transport Board and the Transport Authority to become a mass transit authority. And the buzzword there will be economic enfranchisement. Whether for drivers or workers in cleaning and security, we will carry you with dignity as we make this transition. So my friends, let me go on. Because when I ask the question here as to what, and forgive me while I find it, because we have so much capital works going on in this country. Yeah? So much capital works going on that the bottom line is that the whole country, the whole entire country is, in fact, a construction site. Only this afternoon, I got the photograph showing that all the earthworks for Hyatt on the ground are completed. And we expect that, like the pier head, to continue to go forward completely as we move forward as a country. The bottom line is that when we do so, we also recognize that it is important that we continue our voice on climate. Because if hurricanes hit as they are about to do in the Northern Caribbean, and we don't have resilient architecture, tell me what's going to happen. But you know that over the last few years, in spite of all of the talk about my travel, we are now a mighty voice for climate justice across the world. And we didn't ask for that. We were just simply carrying the voice of Barbados and all small island states to the halls of the United Nations and to the climate summits worldwide. We launched the Bridgetown Initiative to be able to show that we can reform the international financial system and we can introduce things like natural disaster clauses and debt swaps in order to be able to make sure that all from the private sector to the philanthropic groupings advocate for reform like us so that there can be climate resilience. That idea of the Bridgetown Initiative, in part, is now being quoted and discussed by G20 leaders and global financial institutions as recent as last week when I was at the IMF World Bank meetings. In addition, the Loss and Damage Board, where Barbados was ably represented by Elizabeth Thompson, who has now come off of it, shows that we will continue to make sure that we can try, in spite of the world not wanting to capitalize it as much as they have, that we will make sure that we can give them a chance to be able to go forward in this country. But it isn't only our infrastructure, it is our housing that must be resilient. And we have not made the level of progress that we have liked and would have liked in housing, but we have done well. People forget that we have Atlantic Breeze, that we have Brighton and River Crescent, slated by Christmas to finish, Concordia and Floralis, Santia, Hanson and Lower Burney up by you are finally, Lord knows, finally about to start. And believe you me, there's another stage at Coverley about to come. So I say to you, my friends, your government is working. And as we do so, our ability to pay for it is also working. Tourism has surpassed the 2019 levels, and we are now going and growing faster than others had predicted. Our airlift continues to expand. Our numbers expand both in land and cruise tourism. And only last week I met with the leadership of JetBlue, who continue to be happy. But we are not going to put all of our eggs in one basket, and hence the Minister of Tourism, Ian Goodenough, has been working hard in order to be able to ensure that we spread it out and we can increase airlift, not just from Europe, but that we are still working to open up airlift from wider fields, from Africa and ultimately Latin America and the Gulf. And on the issue of agriculture, I will say a few words. But before that, let me say that on industry, and Johnny Cheltenham, you would love this because you are a former chair of IDC. We have determined that it is possible to diversify the Barbados economy and to have more effort in industry. And only this week we had 2 major investors with whom we are concluding memoranda of understanding in the pharmaceutical and health sector that will allow Barbados to gain a name. You have heard me speaking about it for the last few years, and Jerome has been leading ably in speaking, along with Jonathan, those persons that will have investments put into this country that will see the manufacture over the next few years of critical pharmaceuticals or fluids for the medical industry. As it relates to agriculture, Carmita's Pack House in there, somebody tell you that it was a failure or it couldn't open, huh? Has it opened? Has opened on what date? 16th of October. And in Grove, St. Philip. And the retail section is about to open now. The vertical farms are being rolled out as well. The poultry tunnels, expressions of interest are in for it. You heard Ryan announce them in the budget earlier this year. And we, this year, also reduced the cost of water to all farmers in Barbados from $1.80 per cubic meter to $1 per cubic meter as a means to help them propel and go forward, allowing us to go into the business, my friends, of food and nutritional security. The new tissue culture lab is about to be open. And I hope that that will make a significant difference, not just to providing more clean planting material for our farmers, but resuming the advantage that we had, Patrick Bethel, in agricultural research in this country. Business Barbados has been launched as a one-stop shop. And while there are some kinks with respect to the technological platform, we will continue to address them over the course of the next few months, and we expect that within 9 months, those two will be put behind us. We launched a new strategy for the small business sector. And in launching a new strategy for the small business sector, we, as one of our first actions, have worked with the Barbados Stock Exchange to launch the Junior Stock Exchange. In little over a week, over 200 firms will be onboarded on that Junior Stock Exchange, which will allow people to grow their businesses, not simply from borrowing money and accumulating debt, but being able to have investments placed in them as we go forward. My friends, when 2019 came and we started to see cost of living increases, we introduced a cap on port charges to protect local consumers. We have expanded the basket of goods. Ryan did so in March this year. We included stew beef and Horlicks and Sega and a whole bunch of other things that were added to the 33 items that were already in the basket. We've also capped the VAT on electricity bills for households. Last year at conference, I introduced a brand new price check for you. And that price check website, you could go to and see what prices there were at this supermarket, that supermarket, that supermarket, and decide where you want to buy from. Now, we are looking at updating the old 1970s Miscellaneous Controls Act to something that is fit for purpose in 2025. My government will upgrade that antiquated legislation to introduce a new cost of living act into the Parliament of Barbados that will allow for the government to continue to monitor prices in real time and to insist that we include the capacity to be able to access the prices from the point of sale machines of supermarkets so that you Bajans can have access to real-time prices and you can make a decision on your own. We will also establish a cost of living commission to recommend new measures in partnership with our business community and the labor movement to keep prices down for Bajans once they land here. This, my friends, is a government working for you. As I said, we have gone to a point of virtually no construction to the whole of Barbados being a construction site. And that has led to a skills deficit. But a skills deficit means that we have to address some difficult problems in this country. Even as we celebrate our victories, we cannot turn a blind eye to one of the gravest threats that Barbados faces in our nation's future. And I will speak to it now. Our population is declining. I want to repeat it. Our population is declining and aging at an alarming rate. Look at the numbers that we shared with you earlier last month. We had 3,642 people born in Barbados in the year 2000. And we had 2,444 deaths, a natural increase of about 1,100 people. By 2024, last year, births had fallen to 1,995, and deaths had risen to 3,088. A natural decrease of 1,100 people. We have gone from a growing nation to a shrinking nation. Fewer babies are being born, and more of our citizens, even though living longer, are passing on. We are not replacing ourselves as fast as we are dying. This, my friends, is a national crisis. To put it in perspective, our population has already started to dip. We are now at 267,000 as opposed to the 278,000 we were in 2010. We love to boast that we are small. But my friends, if this trend continues, we will become too small to sustain the society that our foreparents built. An aging, declining population means a smaller workforce, supporting more retirees, lower economic output, and less revenue to fund schools and hospitals and pensions. Our NIS system, Colin, the pension system, is already under strain in spite of the magnificent work you led to be able to restructure it. There are fewer young workers contributing for each elderly person. I want the young people in here to listen to me, because if we don't solve this, when you get to that age, you are going to be in trouble in this country. ECLAC has told us that by 2050, 1 in every 2 Bajans will be over the age of 65. That cannot work. I want to make it plain. Our way of life is now threatened by a demographic slide. And this is not scaremongering. This is maths, and this is reality. As the Prime Minister of this country, I refuse to let Barbados march quietly off a demographic cliff. This is not a case of desire anymore. This is a case of necessity. I had hoped that we could have started it earlier, but COVID made it impossible. We have now to act, and act now, to secure the future of our nation. We have done the work, and Marcia, I thank you for that work, with the National Population Commission and the report led by Roberta Clark and others who served ably on that commission. They have done the heavy lifting in the advice that they have given us. We have already started an honest national conversation about population in this country, about how to boost our numbers in a smart, fair, and sustainable way. And there are only 3 ways to grow a population: more births, less emigration, and more immigration. Put it simply, have more babies, stop people from going overseas, and bring in people from outside. Straight talk. We, as a government, will continue to encourage and support those families in Barbados who wish to have families. The truth is, many young people today are saying they want children, but they feel they can't afford them, or they can't balance work and family. And we as a government will be committed to creating conditions that make it easier through affordable housing, childcare support, flexible work arrangements, and financial incentives so that Bajans who want children are not discouraged by the economics. But even with those efforts, we have to be frank. Simply raising the birth rate now will not solve the shortfall in workers by the next 20, 25 years. By 2045, a baby born today will be an adult contributor. But the crisis that we have is now. And therefore, we have to deal with filling the gap now. I have discussed with Ryan Strom, and we have agreed that we will remove all of the taxes on critical goods for babies, whether it is diapers, whether it is cribs, whether it is whatever is needed in the mainstream to deal exclusively with babies in this country. That is not an excuse for people to do foolishness.
Oh Lord.
There are too many village rams already. Secondly, we want to show that we can keep Bajans who are talented here and stop them from moving overseas. I know that we are migratory people. We have been that way from the time slavery abolished. In fact, you could argue that we were that way because we were brought here. But I want those overseas to think about this, and many will answer. We are creating more opportunities right here at home, and we have a good quality of life. Our economic reforms are designed to sustain that, so that our brightest and best can see a future in this country, not only in Toronto or New York or London or Dubai. We say to our young people, this is your land to build your dreams. It can be realized on this rock. And to those who have already gone abroad, we say, the door is open for your return. We need our diaspora. We don't want it. We need our diaspora, our skilled national overseas persons, to feel welcome at home. And I want to say that it is our duty to make them welcome when they come home. Barbados will thrive if even a fraction of our sons and daughters from abroad are brought back to these shores to bring back home their talents that we urgently need as a country. Thirdly, and this is the most sensitive topic, we must embrace managed migration to Barbados. And let me be clear about it. We will not open the floodgates indiscriminately. We will never compromise the safety of our nation and the values that we hold dear. But we also cannot no longer ignore, that well-managed immigration has to be part of the solution to our population crisis. Other nations have done this successfully and on their own terms. Look at the same Canada, who I'm told bring in about 2 to 3% of their population in dedicated periods of time in order to keep their country and their economy vibrant. We don't need to go outside and to do what Angela Merkel did and bring in 1 million people at once, but we need to set a target. And whether that target is 1 to 2% of our population, if we don't do it, we are not going to be able to succeed. My friends, we need it. And that is why the recent initiatives on free movement are so critical. But who will the people be? First and foremost, it is Bajans. The new legislation that is before Parliament says that the descendants of Bajans, not just the children, but the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren should be able to come and get citizenship as of right. You will hug and kiss your grandchild and your great-grandchild the same way that you hug and take care of your own children. But at the moment, only children have the right to automatic citizenship. We're going to change that, and we extend it to the children and the great-grandchildren going forward. And the diaspora wants it. So that the first claim must be on Bajans, for Bajans, whose roots run deepest in our soil. Many of these folks are out there yearning to come home, and as I said, they are a family by blood, and they will strengthen us as a people. Secondly, we will honor our Caribbean brothers and sisters, and that is why the freedom of movement is so important. We give them preferential access because we have committed in the revised Treaty of Chagarama so to do. We have historically helped them, and they have historically helped us in the building out of our nations across this Caribbean. Think of the Vincentians and the Lucians who came here to cut cane in the 70s and 80s. Think of the Guyanese who came here to work in agriculture and the construction sector. Think of the Jamaicans who are here now on the construction sites, the farms, the hotels. All have contributed because we understand that we rise together in this region, my friends. I believe, therefore, that much of the talk that we are having is a lot of much ado about nothing, particularly since it was Errol Barrow and Erskine Sandiford who laid the foundation for regional movement and integration in our country. But that is how far the Dems have gone. Let me also pause on the subject of immigration arising, because this opposition has started their wailing and gnashing of teeth already. They spread fears that Barbados will be overrun, that we will lose our culture, that we give away passports like snow cones. What foolishness is this? I have said over and over, we will not sell Barbados citizenship. We will not sell our passports. And I've been clear about this in every address that I have given. Barbados' passport is not for sale. It is one of the most respected passports in the entire world. And it derives its value from who we are as a people. We will not turn nationality into a commodity, and we reject outright the cheap politics of those who claim that we can do so. Unlike some others in the region, we don't do it. We don't stop them from doing it. That's their right to do it if they want to. But that's just not what we want for ourselves. So that, believe you me, if you become a Bajan, you will have rights. But equally, everything is subject to security, national security, and public health. And if there is somebody out there who has become a citizen by investment and comes to Barbados and eventually is accepted through freedom of movement, they are still subject to the security checks. And if they are found to be unacceptable, then out they go through the door. There will be no first-class or second-class citizens in this country, not under my watch. But we will not dilute our sovereignty, and we will not ensure, or we will ensure, put it another way, Dale, that national security at all times and public health is respected. We need the skills to remain viable as a nation state. And I ask you, what is a greater threat to our sovereignty? Welcoming a few thousand productive Caribbean people and others from outside the region who share our values, or slowly dying because we don't have enough to keep standing in terms of skills or money or activity. That is what is killing us in terms of growth in this country and has been for almost 20 years. This government chooses survival. We choose to adapt and thrive rather than cling to a status quo that leads us to decline. And as we do this, we will remain Bajan to the bone. Our values, our laws, our culture, all will guide us how and guide the newcomers as to how they shall be integrated into this country. And we can do it, again, in a careful and balanced way, as I said before, subject to national security, subject to public health. This Labour Party has never been xenophobic, and I hope and pray will never be xenophobic. We know where we come from and who we are, and we're not going to simply say, ever so welcome, wait for a call, and the countless pain that caused to too many families more than a decade ago. So, I want conference tomorrow to discuss, because kicking the can down the road for another generation is simply not on the cards anymore. And it requires a political decision which will bind us all as we go forward if we are to grow our population and if we are to ensure that people are under the age of 60 to carry and build out this nation. This is how we will protect the national insurance scheme in the long term. This is how we will ensure that our schools will continue to have enough students and not scrambling to look for students to keep them open. And this is how we will find the people to fill the posts at the Hospital Jerome that we cannot get filled. This is how we will make Barbados a place of choice to live, work, and retire. So do not let fear cloud our judgment. This is our reality. And if I've had to speak a little longer this evening than normal to address this issue, it is because this is one of the most critical issues facing this country. We will never sacrifice what it means to be a Bajan. And as I said, those who come here must respect our democracy, must work hard, must be neighborly, and must be law-abiding. We will enforce it strictly. In this context, I expect that Marshall leads the Committee on Social and on Governance, and that committee has already invited Barbadians to come forward for public consultation on the new Immigration and Citizenship Bill. We are not trying to do anything in the dark. It is open, and it needs a national consensus. But I have every faith in our people that once Bajans see the facts and address them, they will understand the sense of what the government is proposing. We can widen opportunity, strengthen our social security, and keep Barbados growing in the right direction as a win-win for all of us. So that those who say you can't do it so, come forward with a solution, because shouting no is not a plan. Standing in the middle of the road means you will get run over by reality, and leadership, not followship. Leadership requires us to make hard choices in the long-term interests of this country. And why? Because when Labour leads, so this is not a game. A man didn't get a ministry and run over from a party to the next side because he's sulking about not getting a ministry. And everything that he believed now in the world is the worst thing in the world. So serious issues come before us, and all of a sudden they are miniaturized and treated purely because he does not know how to get over his hurt feelings for not being put in a cabinet. You know, when people was growing up playing cricket, you know that little boy who when to get out, what does do? Take up the bat and do what? Oh, what a know it good. That is the one you're dealing with out there. Ignore him and let us save this country and put it on the right track. We will continue to stay focused on our missions to 2030 Because, as I said, the mission is not over. When you elected us, we laid out an ambitious vision. We were distracted by COVID, but we are still clear that if we want to become clean and green, smart and prosperous, equitable and inclusive, in other words, the best version of ourselves, we must stay focused on Mission 2030 because that is what will help propel this country. I want to speak now about the symbolic milestone of becoming a republic on this journey. That vision was not simply a 2030 vision. In November 2021, we shed the last vestiges of colonial monarchy and installed our own head of state. Her Excellency Dame Sandra Mason, as president, became the first head of state. And some asked why we did this in a pandemic. And my answer was because nation building does not pause for a convenient moment. We did it because it was a time of uncertainty, but we needed to remind ourselves of who we were, who we are. And that bold step will not in any way come to be regarded as a misstep. We define ourselves by principles and by pride, and we entered into that republic with the hope of becoming the best Barbados that we could become. As we refocus on 2030, as I said, we acknowledge that the timelines have had to shift a bit, but our ambitions have not. And my friends, this world is changing rapidly. Artificial intelligence, climate crisis, geopolitical shifts, and therefore we must become agile and strong enough to navigate and predict every challenge, but we can build resilience into everything we are doing. And we must become an inclusive Barbados that can become prosperous and where entrepreneurship thrives and good jobs are available, good and decent jobs for all those willing to work. One that is green, one that is in harmony with the environment, one that is technologically advanced, as I said, using innovation. This is not a dream. This is within us. It is in our grasp. And look at how we handled the last few years. We kept pushing forward reforms. And that perseverance is what will carry us to 2030. And it is important that this conversation don't only take place in cabinet or parliament, but in the annual conference of the Barbados Labour Party, which is the highest decision-making organ of this party. We can be a shining light, a fully developed small island state that is embracing its future and that others admire. And part of the reason we've weathered these storms is because you all came together and we stayed steady when the world around us was shaking. Take a look at the global events. Some of the oldest and most powerful democracies have been racked by turmoil. In the United Kingdom, political chaos and economic uncertainty followed Brexit. You saw it, we saw it. In the United States, bitter division, government shutdowns, even an attack on the Capitol revealed a superpower grappling with conflict, internal conflict. Around the world, we have seen democracies strained by fake news, misinformation, populism, and struggling with social unrest and economic crisis. There are 91 autocracies in the world, I learned from a study from Rockefeller Foundation, with 89 democracies. And we, in spite of the marches every 2 weeks, remain a strong democracy, allowing people to walk up and down, up and down, up and down Broad Street. We've seen wars in Europe. We've seen wars in Gaza, and we pray that the peace will hold there. Through it all, your country, under this government, has remained a rock of stability. We haven't had any riots or coups or constitutional crises. Thanks be to God for the good sense of our people. We have had orderly elections, smooth transfers of power, even with the 30 loves, and a population that, while vocal and free to disagree, has chosen unity over division. This is not an accident. It reflects a political culture we have built, a social partnership between business and labor, and one that has allowed us to have equally a free press and a national ethos of talking things calmly through with the population. Look at how easily instability can befall a nation, large or small. So when I tell you that Barbados' stability is a key asset, believe you me. And when I tell you that steady leadership matters, believe you me. This Barbados Labour Party, collectively, has provided a steady hand on the wheel, steering through tempests, not panicking. We brought all stakeholders together whenever we have a major crisis. And where others stumble with indecision, we choose to keep forward, moving forward with a common purpose. And that is why we can hold our heads high today in Barbados. I want to say to you that all is not perfect in our governance. Never will be, because we are not God. We are not divine. Mistakes have been made along the way. And yes, there will be more. But we are always human. And what you will always get from us is truthfulness and accountability. If we get it wrong, we will fix it. If we need to change course, we will do so. And that is the approach that this government has always taken. I stand here to account for you, even if it means sitting a little longer. Because you need to remember the things that will be arming you as you go forward. So that when you hear the opposition struggling to fill the parliamentary bench, because if one in there, they ain't got none. When you hear them paint doom and gloom, remember what I've said to you this evening. Look at the world and look at Barbados. What leadership do you prefer? Those who shout from the sidelines and refuse to meet and discuss critical matters with you, or those who have kept the country afloat and rising while others have floundered? The results speak for themselves. And if you doubt me, ask those who have come with us this evening whether there is a place there for people to have dissent under Ralph Thorne. There is none. But in this Barbados Labour Party, there are people who say what they want, when they want, how they want, if they want. And they know that most times I will also say how I want, what I want, when I want. But that does not make here a dictatorship. It means that there is, as Owen Arthur would say, robust discussion and muscular language. But that is how democracies thrive. In a world of bitter divisions, we will still always strive for consensus. In a world of uncertainty, we have to plan and build. And Barbados needs steady leadership now more than ever. Because there are storm clouds hovering literally across the world. And we must remain vigilant and we must remain nimble. And that is why I've said that even as the IMF programs ended, we will keep them on speed dial, because we need a safety net that we can activate in a moment's notice if something happens. We will continue, and I give you this assurance, to be an example of good governance in the Caribbean region. And this is so important. We will continue to champion democracy, human rights, and the rule of law internationally, Kerry, because we have seen how fragile countries can be and how easy it is to dissipate. Our voices in international fora will always stand on principle, whether it is speaking up for the sovereignty of small nations or calling for countries like Cuba to be protected and to be brought back into the international community by removing embargoes or calling out global inequities. If ever we needed a reminder of how unstable and how dangerous this world that we live in is, and how vulnerable our Caribbean region is, it is now with us, facing a multiplicity of threats. We don't need to look any further than the menacing vessels, military vessels from the United States across the Caribbean Sea, including what is reputed to be the world's largest warship. These are not times of pirates anymore. This is 2025, and we have cause to be duly concerned. Because even as that is happening, one of the most dangerous hurricanes for the 2025 Atlantic season is bearing down on our brothers and sisters in the Northern Caribbean. Melissa. We are facing, my friends, an extremely dangerous and untenable situation in Southern Caribbean. And as a people with a tragic history of being subjected to centuries of big power, orchestrated genocide, terrorism, and warfare, and as a small state, we have invested tremendous time and energy and effort in establishing and maintaining our region as a zone of peace. Peace is critical to all that we do in this region. And now that peace is being threatened, we have to speak up. I want to thank the former prime ministers of the community, the very strong statement issued by them for the fundamental principle that was agreed upon on the formation of the Caribbean community by the Honorable Dr. Eric Williams. I want to thank them because without their statement, we are possibly going to have others think that those who now lead governments are speaking in vain without reflecting on the fact that this has been a core principle of the Caribbean community from its very inception. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Prime Ministers. I believe that the time has come for us, therefore, to be able to ensure that we do not accept that any entity has the right to engage in extrajudicial killings of persons that they suspect of being involved in criminal activities. As I said, we stand for the rule of law. And we believe that if there is other intelligence available that would cause you to take action that is an immediate threat to you as a nation, then you have a duty to share it with us. But on the face of it, conflating law enforcement with military action is a dangerous step, as Kerry Simmons advocated a few weeks ago. We equally do not accept that any nation in our region or the Greater Caribbean should be the subject of an imposition upon them of any unilateral expression of force and violence by any third party or nation. If there are conflicts and disputes that are in need of resolution, then the place that they need to be taken for such resolution is the United Nations organization. And the methodology that must be deployed for the resolution is one of negotiation and peaceful actions taken in order to ensure that we can settle disputes. Barbados has always been that place, and that is why we were the location for the opposition and government in Venezuela to sign the pact here a few years ago, because we are friends of all and satellites of none. And I say so comforted that this has been the position of every single government of the country since independence. The violent actions that this buildup has led to needs to be the subject of dialogue. And I have said before, almost every war in the world in history has been ended by dialogue. So let us have dialogue to stop the war rather than to prevent the war from starting rather than to stop it when it has started. And as far as the Northern Caribbean crisis is, on behalf of all of us, I extend our prayers to those who are fearing the worst with Hurricane Melissa. To the people of Jamaica, I have already reached out to Prime Minister Holness. We've already reached out to the President of the Presidential Council in Haiti, Monsieur Laurent Sancerre. To the people of the wider region that is likely to be affected in the Cayman Islands, in the Turks and Caicos, in the Dominican Republic, and of course, my sister in Cuba, who cannot take another hit like the people of Haiti or Jamaica. I ask you to join tomorrow as we go to our churches to ensure that we offer the prayers up for our brothers and sisters, because I can tell you, I was in Jamaica when Hurricane Gilbert hit, and it was a life-altering scenario for me, and I don't want us to go there. But we cannot finish this evening without addressing the issue of crime. And I'm not dodging it by any stretch of the imagination. I want to thank Reginald Farley and Michael Lashley for co-chairing the Advisory Council on Citizenship Security. I want equally to be able to thank the Honorable Attorney General for ably leading this effort with respect to the police. And let me carry you through some of the things that we have done for the police to remind you, because I know that people's memories are short. The police budget is the largest it has ever been, because safety must get the first call on resources in this government. We've regraded the terms and conditions of investigators and members of the special branch. We have converted 46 special constables to police constables. We have created another 60 special constable posts on top of those 46 vacant posts now. We have rolled out a senior constable rank with 218 police officers sworn in as senior constables. We have started the construction of 2 new dorms at the training center. We have given the Criminal Investigations Department and the Special Branch a new home from the dumps that they were occupying. And we are now about to build and refurbish the old Clico building there in Pinfold Street as a new police headquarters. But I go further. We are committing this evening that every single police station, and I met with the commissioner, the acting commissioner, and his senior team yesterday, because every single police station in Barbados in the next 30 months must be refurbished and must be brought up to scratch. And those basic things that are needed to keep policemen and policewomen in this country safe and comfortable will be done. And you know why? In the face of increased crime in this country, our police have done an excellent job in capturing and containing those who continue to terrorize this country. I want you to stand and give them the salute of the Barbados Labour Party for keeping this country safe. And if you didn't get the message before, know that we stand behind you in being able to keep this country safe. It does not mean that the action of every officer can be condoned when they go outside of the law, and very few do. But it does mean that we recognize that 98% of you do the right thing in the right way for the right reasons each and every day. The Attorney General, however, has done a magnificent job in modernizing the criminal justice system in this country. There is a new Juries Act. There is a tougher Firearms Act that closes loopholes. There are witness anonymity protection legislation. There is the interception communications law that so much has been said about, and that is being proclaimed now. And before Cabinet is a paper that I deferred for a week on a new domestic terrorism bill. I want to be very clear. We know that when you leave your house or you leave your church on a Sunday morning, you must be able to go into a gas station to buy a paper, to buy some cheese or even a fruity to mix with a little coconut water for the Sunday lunch, without fearing that you are going to meet somebody spraying bullets. When they do so, whether in a gas station or here on St. Michael's Road at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, or at 8 o'clock through a ZR van in Eagle Hall on a Saturday morning, they are not simply committing a crime. They are terrorizing a country and breeding fear across the society. And they must be held accountable for that. For no handful of people can be held in this country to ransom. And hear me. The government cannot raise people's children. I've said so over and over. Chad, in your by-election, I said I can't go in people's houses and force them to go to Sunday school. I can beg them. Each of us in here, you outside the tents, I want one to listen. The long-term answer is all of us stepping up to the plate. Educational transformation, youth work. Cabinet agreed to a new mental health framework to be drafted to become new legislation, because we know that that is part of the problem. Substance abuse. Wilfred has been told, let every community in this country see what the drugs look like, so that when they come in at you, you can recognize them and you can see the behavior when you know that the child behaving awkward. And as Adrian Ford would tell you, the real problem is the combined use of multiple drugs. So even if one of them could keep you safe, when you start mixing them together, then you have a problem. My friends, fighting crime is not a sprint. It is a marathon. And Barbados will finish it together. But I ask each and every one of us in here to remember that guns don't walk and guns don't talk. And if you see somebody hiding a gun in your house, call the police. Even if it is your child. And if you don't want to do it directly in that way, go to the priest or somebody else or to the lawyer, and they will find a way of helping you. This is why we are building a robust plan and backing it with law, because our job is to protect our people. And tougher penalties for gun offenses in law are critical. Witness anonymity so that people don't get scared about giving evidence is critical. More boots on the ground is critical. Modern equipment and surveillance and technology is critical. And targeted operations that take illegal firearms from off of our street is the police's first and foremost business. In the last couple of weeks, having had a lull, we've seen some flashes again. And we have answered them and will continue to answer them firmly and lawfully. But let us speak the whole truth. In recent months, the police service has reported some declines in overall gun crime. We will not chest thump or try to jinx it by boasting, because if you know me, even when we were doing really well in law and order, I don't boast, because you don't know what will befall you tomorrow. But the fight, as I said, is not a sprint. And the marathon that we run, we intend to win. Ralph Thorne says that we have lost the faith of the police. Yet when we implement what the police ask for, they ask for us to do it, and we implement it. Where is he? Choosing to be blind as usual? Or is he so confused that he remembered that he had to call in police for their own members at their own party conference last year?
Oh Lord!
And don't let me get tied up, because the only politician who was ever convicted did not come from the Barbados Labour Party. Facts are a stubborn thing. We ask mothers, fathers, grandparents, godparents, neighbors, faith leaders to step up. Some laugh and some poo-poo at it. This is not about politics. This is about Barbados. And Michael, that's why thank you for agreeing to step on the commission and to serve, even when Ralph Thorne was offered, agreed, and then back down when Frandel and Bobby and whoever else tell you that he can't come. When policing and parenting and community action lock hands, crime falls. I want to thank those of you in this country who have already stepped up and have started to call people. I know it is a sacrifice for you to speak or even give up someone that you may have raised or that you care about or love. And the country recognizes that there are just, not a lot of people, but a handful of people that play in the fool. And we have to work together to save our communities, because when labor leads, communities step up. And when labor leads, police are backed with what they want in this country. And preserving our national security and keeping Barbados safe has always and will always be the first priority of this government. None of our achievements in the past, in the present, or in the future can happen in a vacuum. And as we build this foundation, I want you to understand that while we draw inspiration from the past struggles for freedom, that we have to move forward as Bajans to be able to protect the Barbados that we want to live in. We must never, ever, ever lose sight, my friends, of where we are and who we are. A people forged in the furnace of slavery and colonialism, and who have fought hard to be masters of our own fate. And we're going to let a few people come out here and lick it all up out of greed and ignorance or substance abuse? Foolishness. Think of the national heroes who led before. Grantley Adams, 75 years ago, gave us the right to vote. Errol Barrow, come and make us independent and fought to build out this country. Tom Adams laid the foundation of a new economy. That is what we have inherited. Owen Arthur built on that. And we're going to let all of that get thrown away because a few people are using a weapon of mass destruction. Because when you put a gun in the hands of a teenager, that is what it is, a weapon of mass destruction. We have come too far because the past struggles we experienced as a people brought us rights and opportunities. And we can't take things for granted. Each generation of Bajans was supposed to carry forward the torch, and they did it. It is now time for this generation to carry forward the torch without that shadow over us. These hard-won gains and the institutions that we have built will wither away if we become complacent or if we expect others to do the heavy lifting. You know who got to do the heavy lifting? Each and every one of us. And this afternoon, I urge every Bajan here at Queen's Park, our ancestral stomping ground, the place where Marcus Garvey came in October 1937, perhaps the first visit he made from Canada after talking about emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. He said that on the 1st of October 1937, and on the 18th of October 1937, he was short there across the road under that tree that is now called the Marcus Garvey Amphitheater. He told us about responsibility, and we have seen Bajans build, and we are now going to have people come and want to break it up. If you are a Bajan, you must now play your part in nation building. If you are a student, study hard and use your knowledge to solve this country's problems, because you are the future innovators and leaders. If you are a worker, give an honest day's work for your pay. Productivity will fuel our prosperity. If you are an employer or a business owner, invest in your country, train your staff, treat them with respect, and practice fair and ethical business, because your fortune is tied to this country's. If you are a community elder or a retired professional, mentor a young person, share your wisdom, and stay involved. If you are a public servant, serve with integrity and efficiency, because the nation depends on you to implement the policies that drive change. And if you are in the diaspora, stay connected and find ways to contribute back, whether through charity or expertise or remittances, because your country needs you. In short, each of us must be firm craftsmen of our fate. Our motto, pride in industry, is not by accident. Pride in ourselves and industriousness in our labor must mean something. We cannot build Barbados with only half the people pulling the weight. And it takes all hands on deck, many working together in order to make it light work. You know I've said it over and over. Demonstrate by your deeds, by how you treat your fellow man and woman, by the effort you put into work and all of these things. Let us do this and rekindle the spirit of community that saw us come through COVID successfully when we pulled together as one and when neighbors took care of each other as they did in before. I often reflect on the words of our national pledge. I pledge allegiance, let me hear you, to my country Barbados and to my flag, to uphold and defend their honor, and by my living to do credit to my nation wherever I go. By my living, by your living, let us do credit to our nation. And whether we are in a foreign land or whether we are here, let our character show and shine. Let people say, that is a proud Bajan. That means zero tolerance for corruption. We didn't tolerate it and we will not do it. It means standing up against powers that want to undermine and discriminate or provide injustice. Everybody must be treated fairly, even if it means sometimes I got to brace up some of ours to do so. Our music, our people, our stories, our cuisine, we are Bajan, and who else can defend it but us? And as we remember the trials and triumphs of our foreparents, let us draw strength from them. They had it harder than anything any of us have ever had to face. We have had abundance, times of plenty compared to them. And we need to make sure that we can stand on their shoulders, but we can build. Build. Because without that, the story of Barbados' growth will come to an end at this point in time. I know it's been a long evening. And let me talk a little politics before I go. It is no secret that the last elections were held in January 2022. It is equally no secret that we are 15 months away from the 5th anniversary of the last election. No, I'm not here to call an election today. I know that some of you feel so.
Oh Lord.
When Arthur used to say that no one knows when the Son of Man cometh, I would have to say that no one knows when the daughter of man cometh. But there are some things that we have to discuss. Because by every stretch of the imagination, we are 15 months away, and I am not going to have the Frondelian 90-day scar on this government's administration. Whenever the next election is called, my friends, it must be run on the cleanest, most reliable voters list in our history. That is why you have seen in the last few weeks people move door to door across this island in order to ensure that we can have a full enumeration exercise. And it is also why we are now opening 16 registration centers to catch every eligible voter that the persons who went around may have missed. Our electoral process is sacrosanct. Your vote is your voice. And if you are eligible, you need to be on the roll. We have built a pathway for this. Walk in and you can register. We are also, however, going to send circulars to every person whose name is on that list to help us ensure that we can find everyone. I can only ask you to be vigilant and please make sure that your name is on the voters list. But there are going to be names for people who have been overseas more than 5 years, who are dead, who can't be found for whatever reason. Those names have to be taken off. When we thought that in Chad's election, we had 8,500 registered electors, 86 or 8,700 they had on the voters list. When we did all of our checks and up and down, it was only 6,500 people. When you took out those who lived overseas, those who had died, those who were, for whatever reason, had moved from that constituency. So that when people comment on the voter percentage turnout, let them remember that this country has not had an enumeration exercise since 1996 or 97. It cannot continue. And I'm asking you for your assistance in helping this enumeration exercise be highly successful. There are implications for constituencies, for boundaries, and for the number of constituencies. And suffice it to say, we are dealing with it. But we are also witnessing a quiet but a telling shift. And I trust that it does not cause unease among any of us. Members of that fractured Democratic Labour Party are choosing to either support or join this Barbados Labour Party. And this is not just political realignment. It is a recognition of something deeper. They see what we've always known, that the Labour Party is not just a party, but a movement grounded in people first, leadership, national priorities and development, and a legacy of progress. They also regret that the Democratic Labour Party of Errol Barrow is no longer present or felt, and even David Thompson. The reality is that they are loyal Bajans, but they also understand what this Labour Party offers and can and must do to keep this country safe in these perilous times. And we as a party must be big enough to make room for every Bajan, while never, never, never forgetting those who built this party and who endured it. And I give you that assurance. But let us welcome those who are ready to build and serve and stand for a Barbados that leaves no one behind. Because this is not about red or blue. This is about redoubling our commitment to the people and lifting high the broken trident. This is what it's about. Lifting high the broken trident for all. Because if we don't do it, if we try to govern Barbados on half the population in these difficult and perilous times, it will be much, much, much more difficult for us to survive. And that doesn't mean that we are going looking for anybody or poaching, but we also are aware that where talent exists, they have noses that smell other talent and come in the space of that other talent. I say to the rest of us that it cannot be business as usual. And what do I mean by that? Discipline, decency, and delivery must remain the hallmarks. The opposition says, election round the corner, election round the corner. I tell you, nobody know when the daughter of man cometh. If anyone is going to be caught with their pants down, as they were expecting a by-election in St. James North and still not ready for it when it get called, that is their problem, not ours. But what I want you to know is that there must be no arrogance, no improper behavior, no corruption, no taking of constituents for granted. And Jerome spoke as an elder of this party last night from this stage about the things that helped build him, much of which helped build those of us who are older. And when we say to you that we don't want that kind of hubris and that kind of behavior in this party, believe you me, we mean it. Let me remind you that every election starts with 0. 0 seats, 0 votes. And you have to persuade people to put their X for you. There is nobody who can carry forward votes from the last election. What foolishness that is. So you have to go and earn it and work for it. And that is why I say to my ministers and my MPs, do not hold up. Why I am going to say to any new candidates, do not hold up. And to the MPs who might be moving on, I am saying to you that while you're here, do not hold up either. And it is against that backdrop that I must now say and ask you, the members of this Barbados Labour Party, to ask Cynthia Ford to stand and Dale Marshall to stand. Cynthia, come, you're too far back, darling. And Dale. Both of them have indicated that this is their last going down. And they will not, look at Cynthia right there, man. Always, 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 always for the Labour Party. They'll bring Cynthia up here and let me give you two of our last hug, book.
Don't worry about a thing.
And tell Ralph this is how a party treats its stalwarts.
Gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every little thing gonna be alright.
I want
Rise up this morning,
you
smile with
on my count to give 3 hip hip hoorays for 2 of the hardest, best working members of the modern Barbados Labour Party. Cynthia Ford, who worked with me in education for 7 years and then the rest of the party, and Dale Marshall, who has been at my right hand for the last 7 years as well. There must be something about the number 7. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip!
surely goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of our life. Envy no one, no wish to be with no evil man. For then come the day.
As you would expect, the General Secretary has been advised by the political leader that the nominations must now start. Let the business of finding new candidates for St. Thomas and St. Joseph begin. And I believe that there may be a few other new candidates as well. Suffice it to say that we are in full throttle. Let us go forward knowing that we have a legacy to protect. And to our faithful base, I say keep doing what you know you must do, but do it at a higher level. Call into the programs because you know you're going to call in for 4 years and you got a bunch of people, the same handful of people trying to redefine facts in Barbados. And the moderators must do their homework too, because I hear one talk yesterday about the union not being in a good position, referring to the Barbados Workers Union as doing things that were being done by other unions in this country. What has been your approach, members of the Labour Party? Contact, courtesy, and constant work, communication, house by house, street by street, comment by comment, so that whenever the bell rings, whenever the daughter of man cometh, Barbados can say without hesitation, we have listened, we have worked, and we have delivered. And that this Labour Party is worthy of their support and the renewal of their mandate. I can assure you that we have come too far as a party to abandon the core values that have guided us safely in the last 87 years. And when you and I see others deviating from them in this party, we have a duty to tell them, step back so, come back in. And when they fail to do so after you tell them, step back so and come back in, then, my friends, they cannot complain because everybody has been given a fair chance. And whatever happens thereafter is a consequence of that failure and not the opportunity. And we have an obligation to all who went before. All, and I include those who have passed us recently, like my dear Chester Rock and Charles Paris, who we mourn only recently, and the many others who have passed in the last year. We do not reach 87 years as a party by ignoring these basics. For we must and we will pass on the legacy of Bajans succeeding when Labour leads. Bajans succeeded when Labour led under Grantley. Bajans succeeded when Labour led under Tom Adams. Bajans succeeded when Labour led even under Brees and John for the 1 year. Bajans succeeded when Labour led under Owen Arthur. And Henry Ford played his part even though he never became Prime Minister. He helped shape this country. And I dare say it is up to you to decide whether Bajans succeeded under Amor Mottley. My friends, I have spoken long tonight because the times demand honesty and the times demand completeness. You must be armed with the information and stop people from talking foolishness in this country purely because you feel that it is unfair to slap down an ant or a rat. But you all know that they ain't good for your health. We have confronted our trials and will continue to do so. We have celebrated our gains and we have remained united as a party. We may not agree on everything, but we move forward as one. We have unity of purpose in economic recovery, unity of purpose across the party, ask the chairman. And we also have unity in holding to our values while we grow. Unity between generations. Unity in weathering global storms that are coming at us faster than a fast bowler bowling. This Barbados Labour Party knows that it is the people, all of you in and outside this tent, in and outside of Queen's Park, that will transform this nation. We will provide leadership and vision. We can make policies and pass laws. But it is you, the people, that make the difference. And Lord knows you have made that difference in this nation's journey. And on behalf of the Labour Party's leadership, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. We have turned this country round when others said it could not happen. I had to say, give me the vote and watch me, you remember? And some now try to use it, throwing it back at me. But I tell them, yet again, give us the vote and watch us yet again, and you can see what sport is.
Oh Lord.
This Barbados Labour Party has made this region and this world sit up and see what it is we as a small nation can provide with thought leadership. We have been a beacon of principled leadership and progressive action. And I am a child of Grantley Adams and Errol Barrow in that respect. We will finish the task of national transformation. And while it will go beyond 2030, the truth is that 2030 must be our next signpost for reckoning. Because we believe that we can do better and be better, and that it is not just our economic development now that must matter, but our social and moral development, and that a nation that cares for its citizens from cradle to grave, that gives every child the tools to fly as high as they can fly, and that safeguards the environment and keeps also our communities safe. that contributes to the global family of nations far beyond our size, that this is a government, a party that merits your confidence. And I know that you as Barbadians feel strongly that this is a legitimate pursuit and that we can find unity of purpose in this dream. So as I close, I go back to our theme. When Labour leads, we Bajans will succeed. It is more than a line for applause. It encapsulates a truth proven since 2018, when you have leadership that puts people first. And I thank my cabinet, I thank the parliamentary party for lifting the heavy weight, for the sacrifices made, for the families that have had to endure them being away and not being there for birthdays and vacations and visits. And I ask all of us to remember that sometime. But I thank them for allowing us to step up to the plate with the tough decisions so that our people can succeed. Because while we are not perfect, we are steadfast in service and caring to every last bone in our body. I ask you to keep the faith. Stay with us on this journey. There is still much work to be done. But I have zero doubt that if we are to remain as one people with one goal, there is nothing that we cannot overcome. Let us move forward in unity, guided by the lessons of our history and the clarity of our vision for the future. And brothers and sisters, I thank you again, the rank and file, for your love and your support. At the close of Chad's by-election, I had cause to say and to tell you that I've had to reconsider the decision about wanting to leave. And I told you that I would stay. I will stay with you. I do not know how long I have, but I know that as long as God gives me strength, and as long as God gives me passion and purpose, and as long as God keeps my heart caring for people, that there is work to be done to carry this country forward and to keep this political party as the greatest political institution in the Caribbean. And I say to you that those of you who lead here tonight, leave knowing full well that when Labour leads, so let us rise and do our work. Rise for the mothers. Rise for the mothers who will not give up. Rise for the officers who go and run towards danger to protect us. Rise for the nurses and the teachers and the bus drivers and the sanitation workers. Rise for the little ones who deserve a safer and a fairer tomorrow. And yes, as I announce, as I stay with you, rise for all Bajans, because when Labour leads, and we shall go forward. And you know, I never come without a little something in my back pocket. So when we're ready, come along and let us, maestro, run the track for me.
When Labour leads, Belgium succeed. Yes. Loving the voice of the light we lead. Run one another to good indeed. All together now. When we lead, Belgium succeed. Let it go, let it go, let it go.
You wanna can't dance?
New day break, we rise and shine. Small island, but big design. Big design. Step by step, we meet the need.
Okay.
For one another, plant good seeds.
On the right track, keep it like that.
Yeah.
We can't go forward by looking back.
No.
Heads up, hearts up, vibe with beat.
What?
Link up, push up, unity.
Yeah. When Labour leads, Belgium succeed. Correct. Loving the voice of the light we lead. Put something up in the air.
For one another, do good indeed.
When we lead, Belgium succeed.
Rain or sun, we find a way.
Every day.
Lift each other
succeed. In the voice of the light we lead. We are built from side to side.
One another do good indeed. BLP.
When we elite Belgium succeed. All side to side. Live, 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 every day. Live, 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 every day. Live, 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 every day. Live, 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 every day.
BLP. Barbados Labour Party.
BLP.
When level is Belgium succeed.
Belgians, answer the call.
Sing it again for the people, please. That's right.
One another do good indeed.
When we elite Belgium succeed. I want to see everybody.
Run the track again and follow me. Run the track again and follow me. There we go.
When Belgium succeed. Loving the voice of the light we lead.
We getting out together. Come, Sandra. Let me go.
When we
Line by line.
succeed. Let me go, let me go, let me go.
New day break, we rise and shine.
Volume.
All island, but take design. Take design. Step by step, we meet the need.
Okay.
Hold one another, planted seeds.
On the red track, keep it like that. We can't go forward by looking back.
No.
Heads up, hearts up, vibe will be.
What?
Link up, push up, unity.
Yeah. When level is Belgium succeed. Correct. Loving
I hope you like the song.
Put something up in the air.
Hold one another, do good indeed.
When we elite Belgium succeed.
Rain or sun, we find a way.
Every day.
Lift each other day by day.
That's right.
From country to town, we move as one.
One,
Every morning, work is done.
not two, not threes.
On the right track, keep it like that.
What?
We can't go forward by looking back. Heads up, hearts up, vibe with beat. Link up, push up, unity.
Tell me where we headed. Forward. Wait. Forward. Tell me what we need. Forward. Wait. Forward. Tell me where we headed. Forward. Wait. Forward.
When level is Belgium succeed. In the voice of the light we lead. We are built from side to side.
Hold one another, do good indeed. BLP.
When we elite Belgium succeed. All side to side. Live, 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 every day. Live, 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 every day. Live, 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 every day. Live, 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 every day.
BLP. Barbados Labour Party.
BLP.
When level is Belgium succeed.
Belgians, answer the call.
Sing it again for the people, please. That's right.
One another, do good indeed.
When we elite Belgium succeed. I want to see everybody. Whoa. When level is Belgium succeed. Loving the voice of the light we lead.
Hold one another, do good indeed.
All together now. When we elite Belgium succeed. Let me go, let me go, let me go.
New day break, we rise and shine. Small island, but big design. Big design. Step by step, we meet the need.
Okay.
Hold one another, planted seeds.
On the red track, keep it like that. We can't go forward by looking back.
No.
Heads up, hearts up, vibe will be.
What?
Link up, push up, unity.
Yeah. When level is Belgium succeed. Correct. Loving the voice of the light we lead. Put something up in the air.
Hold one another, do good indeed.
When we elite Belgium succeed.
Rain or sun, we find a way.
Every day.
Lift each other day
Yes, what a speech, what a celebration. Comrades,
From youngsters,
the celebration
we used to
continues.
create the vibes everywhere we go. So you know, yeah, we can go to a fete, yes, or stay home and make.
Let's welcome to the stage.
Just as you know,
Let
we
Mike
have a
and
serious
Salis.
reputation. We start betting at work, continue by the gas station. When me and my friends link up, you know it's a celebration. Go!
So I admit, betting is getting the best of me. The guy taking my left of me.
I went on any girl were next to me. From a child, the vet was the destiny. Betting is getting the best of me. And the guy taking my left of me. I went on any girl were next to me. Bro, anywhere we go, Been out on the road. And you know the code. Then we get in the morning. When we buy the bottle. When we in the car. Be friends in the yard.
If you represent the BLP,
Sing! It's we who make it and then can make it up. Cut the bones out. It's we who make it and then can make it up.
come let me build it up.
It's we who make it and them can make it up.
Make a bet right now.
It's we who make it and them can make it up.
What?
From youngsters,
What?
we used to create the vibes everywhere we go. So you know, and now that we older, all that you hear is vibes on the radio.
This is the party
So you
to be
know.
with. So I admit, betting and getting the best of me. And the guy taking my left of me. I went on any girl with next to me. From a child to it was me destiny. Betting and getting the best of me. And the guy taking my left of me. Somebody in the front sing. Anywhere we go, we go. Put on the road. Well, you know the code.
If we get in the morning,
When we buy the bottle.
when we in the car, be friends in the yard. So let me
I wanna
start
see
it.
everybody bump. Start a bump.
It's we who make it,
Why?
and them can break it up.
Start a bump.
It's we who make it, and them can break it up.
Come let me build it
It's
up.
we who make it, and them can break it up.
Start a bump now. It's we who make it and them can break it. Happy birthday.
I stay home and make one. Cause as you know, we have a serious vet reputation. We start betting at work,
Shanice, happy
continue
birthday.
by the gas station. When me and my friends link up, you know it's a celebration.
What? So I admit, betting and getting it. Malika taking what? I went on any girl with next up. From a child of it was happy birthday.
Betting and getting it.
Malika taking. I went on any girl. Why? Anywhere we go, we go. Out on the.
You know the code. Then we get in the morning.
When we buy the bar.
When we in the car. Be friends in the yard. So let me
BLP, we are let pipe and satis. We love you.
All right. So we're going to take a short break because we need to take care of some housekeeping matters. For those of you who are leaving, thank you very much for joining us. But I know the majority of you will be staying. And why is that? Because we have the karaoke finals coming up. That's real action. So DJ, just fling down some music. Give us about what? Well within half hour. And we're going to be ready to start the karaoke finals. Barbados Super Party's 86th annual conference. When labor leads, we Bajan succeed. The driver of MK38. MK38, you need to get to your car like now. And there's another vehicle, hold on.
When labor leads, Belgium succeed. Loving the voice of the light we lead. Put one another to good in me. All together now. When we lead, Belgium succeed.
And the driver of 02391. 02391, you need to get to your car. 02391, go now.
Step by step, we meet the need. Okay.
One another planted seeds.
On the red track, keep it like that. Yeah. We can't go forward by looking back. No. Heads up, hearts up, vibe will be.
What?
Link up, push up, unity.
Yeah. When labor leads, Belgium succeed. Loving the voice of the light we lead. Put something up in the air. One another do good indeed. When we lead, every day.
Lift each other day by day.
That's right.
From country to tongue, we move as one.
One,
Every morning work is done.
not two, nor trees.
On the right track, keep it like that.
What?
We can't go forward by looking back. Heads up, hearts up, vibrate beat. Link up, push up, unity.
Tell me where we headed. Forward. Forward. Tell me what we need. Forward. Forward. Tell me where we headed. Forward. Forward.
When labor leads Belgium succeed.
All right, so we also need the contestants. We need them to come backstage, please. And Gail, perhaps you can just go over to the dressing room. I believe all of them are there. And if you can kindly escort them backstage.